Right.
Possibly. I don't know. I find a lot of bullshit in her stories now.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I just wanted to point that out because I heard that and I was like, because I've heard her say she was chained to the bed and she had to use the bathroom on herself. Then I heard she was chained to the bed and she had to use a bucket. And then I heard recently she was chained to the bed and she had to use it on herself and the bucket.
Yeah.
Maybe the bucket got full and she had to use it on herself.
I don't know. I think you're no. So after that, that's when, she went on Farmers Only. I'm kidding. It was Christian Mingle, right?
It was. I don't know if they say Christian Mingle. I think it just kind of said Christian dating website.
Christian,
which back then was Christian Mingle. I think
okay, which to me is fucking hilarious.
And this is we're now up to 2012.
2012. Okay. This is where she meets Chris.
Nicholas.
Go
to John.
Chris, Nicholas, same thing. Santa Claus.
It's not very
Chris
factional, James.
I feel like you're comparing it to Santa.
Factual.
Chris Kringle.
Factual.
And Saint Nicholas.
Saint.
Just call him Nick.
Nick. This is where she meets Nick on FarmersOnlyChristianMingle.com.
Yeah, and they start an online
relationship.
And we must point out that he was a lot closer to her age than this 36-year-old dude. So,
right.
As far as a social mingling type of deal, it wasn't too strange to begin with, right?
Yeah, I think that from what I gathered and listening to it with the conversation and the relationship she had with him, he really didn't know much about her at first. Right. So it's not like he was like, oh, she's disabled and 15. Ooh, let me get this little girl. It was, they were talking like normal humans.
Right.
Then,
like teenagers.
Yeah,
and
like
and
teenagers.
at this point, she knows that she's not 15, so she's telling people her actual age at this point.
Right. So this guy is less of a creep.
He's less of a creep, and she's of age, and he's of age, and they get to talking, and just like she did in the 36-year-old, she gets comfortable talking to him and starts opening up about her life and her troubles and what her mother is putting her through.
Right.
And Nick is like on the spectrum here, people. He's like, what is it, stage 2 autism, something like that?
I think he's diagnosed Asperger's as well.
Yeah, Asperger's. Yeah. He's
which you can see in interviews with him.
Right. He's socially and mentally underdeveloped.
Yes.
Very much so.
Is what he is. And judging by him, I don't think that he had ever had a serious relationship with a girl before, which is probably why he probably tried this little Christian Mingle dating deal to see if he could meet somebody. Mm-hmm. And when he met her and she was open with him and he probably had that feeling, oh, I've kind of found somebody that I could talk to, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, you can take it from there.
You want to go?
No, you go ahead.
Well, the thing with Nick that I've noticed, a lot of people would say he's special ed. Like, if he was in high school, like, he would be sitting with the special ed kids. He's socially awkward. You can hear it in his voice.
I think that's the perfect word for it, is socially awkward. Like, because when you hear him talk, like, a lot of things that he says makes a lot of sense, and it's like, oh, you can have a conversation with him, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's like
the more he talks, the more he exposes himself as being not all mentally there.
He's like not quite in touch with reality.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Is that he's not there with reality. Like, he doesn't have a firm grasp on it. To me, like, his mindset is of a teenager.
Yeah. Like a younger teenager.
Like a 10, 12, 13-year-old.
Yeah, he has that mindset of when I get mad, that's not really me. That's my other personality.
Yeah, he says that, right? That he has multiple personalities.
Yes. Like, I didn't kill her. This bad part of me named blah, blah, blah killed her type of deal.
Right.
Which is
crazy.
It's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. There's no other way you can, you know, like you hear serial killers and people that kill people all the time. Some of them say that. They said, like, when I killed blah, 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 that wasn't me. Or a lot of them say I blacked out. You know, that's the go-to thing to say. He straight out says that he has multiple personalities, and the personality that killed her was his evil side that wanted to kill somebody.
It had he has a name for it too.
Yeah, he names every personality. Yeah.
But you know one thing about serial killers or killers, you know what you never hear them call themselves?
Victim.
Crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
A crazy person will never call themselves crazy.
Because
That's
a crazy person doesn't know they're crazy.
Exactly.
Something that I just remembered that about their relationship was that he was open about his different personalities. Mm-hmm. And Gypsy started to create these own personalities to match each of his personalities.
Right.
Yeah.
So his bad boy persona, she created a bad girl persona.
And there was a little kid one too.
Yeah,
and it was fucked.
Yeah, but
fucked.
The difference that I want to point out is that these are his traits. She is playing into his personality disorder.
Right. Like he genuinely believes that
she
he
doesn't,
has all
though.
of these different people inside of him, and she doesn't. She was doing
She
it
knows.
to have fun. And
It's an act.
Yeah, it's an act.
That to me is a very big detail.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very big detail that they took to trial when he was in there and said that she did take advantage of him.
Right.
And unfortunately, the jury didn't buy it, but we'll get to that point.
Yeah, so
I guess fast forward at this point,
that's what I was about to say. You know, they have a pretty serious online dating relationship. They didn't see each other, right?
They saw each other in person at the movie theater.
They went and saw Cinderella.
Yeah. Okay. That's where this starts getting mucky to me. Mm-hmm. Is because if you notice everything and everyone says Gypsy never left her sight. Right?
Right.
But for some reason, while they're at the movie theater, she let her go use the bathroom by herself, and apparently Nick went to go get concessions, right?
Like popcorn
or something like that. And that's when they went to the bathroom and got it on.
Mm-hmm.
They had sex.
They coitus cuddled. So it had to have been like somebody had to have noticed this or something.
Right, because she was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, she's in.
How can a disabled girl in a wheelchair go to the bathroom and nobody notice a fucking dude going in right behind?
Right.
And they don't mention which bathroom they had sex in.
They don't.
No, they don't.
And with how controlling the mother was, how did she not put two and two together? Hey, they both got up and left. They've been gone for a minute. I don't understand how that all happened.
I don't neither. That to me, something is off in that story. Mm-hmm. 2 and 2 isn't making 4 here to me.
Right.
The mom's just all right, go have a pee. And then he's at the concession stand and she's just okay, yeah, everything's all good. I'm sure that he's just getting extra popcorn.
Right. Especially where Gypsy said the mom was Dee was getting pissed off through the movie because Gypsy was showing more attention to him than she was to her mom.
Right.
So she would have already had her
aggravated.
Yeah,
suspicious and something like that. I mean, unless they went to the bathroom and he's so it was the Forrest Gump moment, when Jenny touched his leg, and it was over with. I mean, unless that's how it was. But to me, I don't know. That part of the story just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
But anyway, they supposedly met at this movie theater, had sex, and went on their merry way. Where was he from, by the way? Because at this point, they're living in Missouri. He lives out of state, so he had to come there by bus.
I think he did come by bus
and meet her there.
No, I'm thinking later on. He came. Well,
he was from Wisconsin. Big
Wisconsin.
Bend, Wisconsin.
Yeah, he came all the way from Wisconsin up to Missouri to go see Cinderella. And if you think that's all he came up for and they didn't plan on having sex, they were going to have sex one way or the fucking other. I believe. I mean, I wouldn't fucking go state to state like that if I didn't expect that.
Love is a very powerful thing, sir.
And manipulation of love. And getting back, it was a combination of his mental problems mixed in with his loneliness and grabbing onto somebody paying attention to you for the first time in your life.
Right.
You know, so it was an overwhelming type of deal. So it was no shock that, you know, they had discussed, well, how can we be together? How can we get you out of this situation? How can we do all this? So the eventual talk of, well, we need to run away led to, well, my mother's not going to let that happen. The authorities, you know, she's got me under lock and key. The authorities, they think that I'm mentally retarded, so I'll just be returned back to my mother if I try to run away. So that's when the talk came from Gypsy to him that maybe, you know, you got to get rid of my mom. You got to kill my mom.
Right.
And that's where
she started the idea.
Yeah, she did. And like going back to what I said, the manipulation, the combination of his mental illness mixed in with his thinking that he really does love this girl, which only was because that was the only girl that ever gave him any attention.
Right.
So it was, you know, he's head over heels, you know, pussy whipped, so to speak. Was a combination of, yeah, he was willing to do it because he, you know, from what all the public knows about this, I mean, imagine what she was telling him. He probably had the same idea. Yeah, this bitch needs to die.
Yeah.
And he probably thought he'd be a hero.
Yeah.
Well,
he
he also said that he didn't want to kill her.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be with Gypsy.
Right. He didn't necessarily want to do it, but his overwhelming desire to be with her led him to the decision and what Gypsy was telling him. This is the only way.
Right. Which now that whole thing's starting to change, but we'll dive into that in a little bit. I got a thing that just kind of popped in my head. I wonder if she talked to anybody else online and was like telling her the situation and tried to like throw it out there. Like, what if he wasn't the only one? Just to see if they were mentally capable, unstable, like stable and capable of doing, like, you know, she like kind of fishing around.
That's a good question because they met online in 2012. This didn't happen until June 14th of 2015. That's 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, she could have been.
I think in one of the documentaries, it actually said that he was working somewhere to save up enough money to buy a bus ticket to go there. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
It might have been in the first or second. I think it might have been the second episode of the Lifetime series, but he actually saved up enough money to go. So, and after that, you know, I guess it was just online communication from that point on, or, you know, the majority of it was through online talking or whatnot, texting, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point I guess we're at now is where she has then